So hi everyone, Redneck Computer Geek here. We're going live for our Wednesday night. Whoop. Okay. Well, the scroll bar is still going, so let's see if it'll decide to fill out. Hopefully you guys can go and see me. It says we should have 4 of you watching. If anybody wants to queue in, make sure that mic checks out and everything. We'll be good to go. So John's not the best at reading, so if you want to go and post a question towards John or whatever, feel free to say, hey, John, or John to you, or whatever in the comments, and I'll try to read them off to him. Obviously, if you have something that I don't think is appropriate, I will probably decide not to go and read it. That's just logic. So we're going to do our usual Wednesday night. I actually am working on a project right now for going drag racing on Saturday, and I'm a bit behind on my schedule. So we're going to run our usual Wednesday night in order to go until about 7:30-ish, like we normally do. And we'll go from there. As always, I've got a couple of topics, a couple of things that I figured I'd point out, talk about, discuss, or whatever. And you're more than welcome to go and throw up a chat note and say hi. Feel free to ask questions and throw them out there. So, Cool Bag of Doritos is in the place. That, you know, someday if you manage to go really good on YouTube, Doritos is going to sue you. But for now, you should be safe.
Oh, I see it.
Yep. So let's see. Robert Clark, sounds good. Thanks for my sticker. Hey, I'm glad that you got your sticker. I hope you enjoy it. We've still got some more of those left, and we'll probably do that later in this chat like we usually do. If you're new to the chat and you're just tuning in, the long story short on stickers is that tradition started about a year ago that at a random point during the chat, I would announce this is what time it is. And if you send me an email after this time with your name and your address correctly written out, and I don't have to go and try and decipher anything, I'll send you a sticker. It's that simple. It's free advertisement for me, and so I don't think you should have to go and pay for one. If you show up to the live chat and you interact, I think it's worth sending you a sticker. So we'll see. When I do, though, it's only 5 people, so keep that in mind. The last time we ended up with 7 people. I'm sorry to the 2 that were slow, but 15 minutes after the other people doesn't count. Let's see. Let's see. Carson Benedict says, hey, how are you? How are you, John?
Good.
You're good? Okay, I'm good too. We're simple Mainers here. We're just good. Unless you're dealing with that ventriloquist guy there with the dummies and stuff. Good, 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 good! But yeah, we're just Mainers. We're good. You got to put the head bob in there. It doesn't count as a main good unless you got the head bob. I'm good. Right, John?
Yep.
Yep. All right. What do you recommend for a really good, cheap lawnmower? Depends on the size of your yard and what you're dealing with. In all honesty, pull-in pros are what I've been targeting for the last year and a half or so. I find that they're the pull-in pro, especially the 42-inch model, is actually based off the same chassis as the old-fashioned LT1000 and LT2000 Craftsman's. I don't know whether Craftsman discontinued it and Pull-in bought out the rights or what, but basically about 2000 or so, Craftsman quit making them, and Pull-in Pro started rebranding them with their own name. So that's what I recommend in the market currently. The Pull-in Pros that have the hydros and the MST 205 and 206 transmissions, those are what I really recommend. They're hard to kill, and they're what I recommend building mud mowers out of also. Let's see. William says, hi, John. Good to see you hanging out tonight. Is it fun hanging out tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, wicked good. We got a hell of an interview going on here. We've got good and we got yeah for answers. John's really talkative. Have you noticed? Let's see. Rallyman says hi RCG and hi RCG Junior. You're RCG Junior, I assume. Oh, Jessie apparently must have just woke up from her nap in the bedroom behind me. She says it's Peanut by Jeff Dunham. Good, 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 good! I like Jeff Dunham. He's got good stuff. It's so weird how Poulin is pronounced differently everywhere in this country. I've noticed that too. I get people that end up getting on the videos and they tell me that I can't say it right or I don't say it right or whatever. I give up. I don't care. With my main accent, I pronounce everything totally different than anybody. We always end up talking about John, say car.
Car.
Say car.
Huh.
Do you put it in a drawer or a drawer?
I don't know.
Do you put your socks in a drawer or a drawer?
Drawer.
A drawer. Yep, see? Is it a stream or a creek?
For what?
The little running water thing. Is it a stream or a creek?
Stream.
Stream. See? That's another one of those. Stream and creek, you can definitely tell if somebody's from up north or down south. Down south, they say creek. Up here, they say stream. Up here out of town, that you definitely can tell when somebody is from out of town, because it's BANGOR. But up here in Maine, we drop ORs into A's, so it's Bangor, Maine. But people from out of state actually pronounce the or on the end of it and stuff like that. Yeah, John likes making little puppet things. What's that one called?
A lizard.
That's a lizard?
Yeah.
It looks like a unicorn to me. Okay, show the people. Is it a lizard or a unicorn? You guys vote. I think it looks like a unicorn.
Whoa.
Oh, is it a lizard if you break his horns off? I see, you cheated. Yeah, that looks like a snake or a lizard. All right. What else we got going on here? I have a Kohler CV16S started, but it stalled and it cranks and floods. Well, flooding's your key thing there. If you're flooding, you either have no spark, so you need to pull a spark plug and just check your spark. The other thing, if it's flooding, is you could potentially have your needle seat stuck on the inside. So check for spark first, because that's really easy to do. If you don't know how to do that, well, unfortunately, you're about to learn. And otherwise than that, pull the bottom of the carburetor off and check your float bowl and make sure that you're not gummed up with all kinds of caca. I've literally seen a whole bunch of them. I've seen a whole bunch of them where the bowl is actually filled at the bottom of it with water that's dissipated out of the Obama gas. So just watch for that. Oh, so I ended up doing these nails or whatever for Jesse's Color Street stuff. You guys have seen them. Over in the community tab, there's a couple of different posts that you can check in on these things. And they're definitely a good sales thing. They last really, really well. But we did discover something in the shop that does screw them up. This CRC brake clean, specifically the red can. The red can screws them up. The green can does not. This nail was perfect. Focus, you stupid snot. There it goes. That nail was perfect until I hit it with this. Whatever is in this apparently will actually eat these things. It's the only substance I have found so far outside of blatantly deciding to go and use acetone to try and take them off. Diesel fuel doesn't take them off. Kerosene doesn't take them off. Brake cleaner, transmission fluid, all of the usual stuff that I deal with does not bother these things in the least. This, on the other hand, this screws them up. Oh, John wanted to make finger puppets, so about a week or so ago, or last Sunday, yep, you gotta, so he's got one on, same kind of color as mine, and he's got a little dot on it so that he can make finger puppets, and it comes out as the eyeball. Yeah, he drew a dot on it. Do.
Wait, let's see this. Come here, show up better. There it goes.
All right, let me see. What do we got going on? Let's see if we can catch up here. I would like to have a couple of your stickers. Well, in that case, Dylan, stay tuned. And if you're managed to be smart enough to figure out how to send an email with your address at the time that I declare I'm giving out 5 stickers, in that case, you'll get a sticker. If you're not that smart, well, that's not my problem. That's just the way I am. Sorry, not. Anyways, so going back to this, have you ever worked on racing lawnmowers? I'm actually working on building a dragster right now. If you go over to the Tiki Talk that my girlfriend forced me to go and have, or if you go on to my Instagram, you will see that I actually posted up a video of the motor for that running. You're welcome to go take a look at that and comment on it. And the video that's going to be up on RCG Racing at the, hopefully sometime Saturday or Sunday, we'll have the build up there. Word that nobody can say correctly, no matter where they are, is hollow or holler. Up here, it's down in the hollow. I'm not sure where you're from that you say holler, but holler up here is yelling at somebody. Like, holler out to you, boys. Oh, we got people arguing. Is it a creek or is it a stream? Jesse says it's a stream. I'm going to go with her because I have to go and live with her. All right, let me see here. Let's catch down through here. Hey, young man, how are you doing today? Love the videos of you fixing up mowers. Apparently, Robert thinks it's cool that you help me out. Let's see. Have you got a Lisburn in Maine? A Lisburn in Maine. I think there is a Lisburn, Maine. I'm not sure. You can Google it. I do believe it's a Lisburn, Maine. Actually, if I'm right, I think it's about an hour, hour and a half drive away from where I live. Let's see.
Oh.
Hunter wants to know, is the red can chlorinated or non-chlorinated? I believe it is chlorinated. I believe the green can is the non-chlorinated. Let me see here. This one does not seem to go on state straight outright whether it is chlorinated or not that I can see. But it is CRC Brake Parts Cleaner if you want to look it up. The green can of this blatantly says non-chlorinated, so I'm assuming this is chlorinated. Well, okay, we're going to see if she can find it on there. Lauren says I'm a not smart discriminator. Yes, you are very right. I am a not smart discriminator. I am definitely a... Back in my generation, we believed that gene pool lifeguarding needed to exist and that if you smashed your head into a table being stupid driving a power wheel that you deserved it. Something like that. You know those people that end up cleaning themselves out on tractors because they don't pay attention to where the trampoline is and stuff like that? We called that gene pool lifeguarding in my generation. We didn't put padding on things. If you smashed your skull, well, that was your problem. Learn to drive. That was usually our motto.
What's his name? I like his picture.
Hi, John says that Tommy has a cool thumbnail picture of some sort of tractor. Let's see.
Old school.
Yeah, Tommy has an old school tractor. John says he likes the thumbnail picture of your tractor, whatever it is. Let's see.
Old school that I've been bugging you to buy.
Yep. Hi, Tommy says, I have a 14.5 horsepower overhead valve single Briggs & Stratton. When you rev it up from idle, it will backfire through the carb and muffler. What could be the cause of it? I replaced the carb on it already, and it still does it. All right, so Briggs & Stratton backfiring through the carb is known for a couple of things. Usually, and I say it with usually, it's the valves need adjustment. Briggs & Stratton overhead engines love to go and screw up the exhaust valve for some stupid reason. I'm not sure why, but they do. Yes, no?
It has a type of chlorine in it.
Has a type of chlorine in it, she says. So there's the answer to that question. Yes, it is chlorinated, and apparently that is one of the factors to eating these. So as far as the backfiring through the carb is concerned, the other thing that Briggs & Stratton is notorious for is the exhaust on a Briggs & Stratton has a valve guide in it, and it's a pressed-in guide. And as it wears down on one side, it can end up allowing exhaust to go through there and cause all kinds of stupid backfire things to happen. But most of the time, if you got backfire through your carb, you've got a valve that's out of adjustment. Don't ask me for a how-to on doing valve adjustments. I do them by hand. I do them by feel. I have not once in 7 years used a feeler gauge because as Briggs & Strattons get older, I have discovered that once they get towards about the 300-hour mark, that you have to feel them. You can't just adjust them by the gauge because they tend to wibble and wobble and do stupid stuff, and you have to feel them in. So that's just my advice on that. Let's see. Have you used your car lift much? Do you get anything sorted to lift the mowers with it? As it is right now, I have used it to fix her car. She had an exhaust that ended up blowing out the side of the muffler, so I fixed that on it. That made a huge difference. That turned what normally would have been a 2-hour job into like half an hour. That was great. I really appreciated that. I have been using it in order to go and fix a hole that's in the frame of my Ranger. For those of you, if you ever go to buy a used Ranger, Ford has this known issue in the frame and the exhaust design where on a 4.0, the headers actually come down and they collect over on the passenger side, and the collection pipe is right inside almost of the frame rail. And on the inside of that frame rail section, it condenses, does all kinds of stupid things, and it causes a hole usually about that big to form right straight through the side of the frame. What? I don't get a kiss on camera? I see how you are. You're mean. You'll kiss me any other time, but not on camera. I see how you are.
Shut up.
Love you.
Sure.
She gets nervous around you guys. I have no idea why.
No, I just don't know.
All right. So, yeah, in all honesty, she doesn't feel good. So it just is what it is. Let me see.
Can you come over on camera, Fancy?
Let's see. Okay. Here we go. The Lawnmower Cub Cadetti. I'm not sure what a Cub Cadetti is or what your question was there.
That's a weird name.
Robert Clark says, John, your Power Wheel cars are cool. What's your current favorite one? The gas-powered one, even though it decided to blow up the carb the other day? Yeah, the guy, I don't know if you can hear him, sorry. The gas-powered Power Wheel decided that carburetors were optional the other day and decided to blow out the bowl gasket out of nowhere. So we've got a carburetor on order for that. It just, unfortunately, those things happen. But we'll get that back up and running. What's your favorite electric creation that you drive?
there's been a couple problems in the go-kart. I think it's that one.
You like the little pedal go-kart conversion?
Yeah.
Yeah, the pedal go-kart conversion is definitely one of my favorites. I think it looks the coolest out of most of them. But we do have stuff to go and be able to do a conversion, hopefully, on the electric F-150 Raptor in order to put a mobility scooter rear end in. So we'll be looking into doing that soon. That should be fun. John, okay, so Jacob, out of the tractors that I own or that we own, what's your favorite one? What currently is your favorite one?
It's a hard one.
That's a hard one. Do you want to think about it a sec?
Probably the really old school one.
The really old one that you want me to restore?
Yeah.
All right, so if you've been watching around, there's a really ancient 66 Bolins that's off to the side over next to the blue F-150. John's been bugging me for years to pull that in and do a restoration on it during the winter, and we've been debating it. We might decide to try and do that this year if we can get a few more things sorted out.
So it's doing right now is sitting there rotting.
Yes, I know. It's just sitting there rotting right now. Yeah, rub it in, add some salt. Yeah. Is it pronounced Poulin or Poulon? It's a Poulin?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a Poulin. John says no poo for poopy Poulin for you. Let's see. Rally says it's neither a creek or a stream. It's a skuck with a silent H. Here in, oh, you're in Northern Ireland. You're in an entirely different country of proverbs. Oh, okay. Yeah, like instead of my girl, you say my lass or whatever over there. And there's a couple other things you guys say over there that are interesting, that are different from here. But yeah, I can totally get that. Let's see. Yes, I'm a meanie head. That's right.
I won't say you're mean, but
Lauren points out a really good thing. If you end up going through on your 14.5 and you end up finding that the valves are in adjustment and everything, to check your flywheel key. He's quite right. On a Briggs & Stratton, if you end up with a backfire, you can actually snap the flywheel key and have it rotate. I think it's about 10 degrees, if I remember right. You can rotate a big Briggs & Stratton and still manage to go on fire. That's why they call them cheater keys in racing, is because they adjust the flywheel timing by, I believe it's 3 degrees in advance in order to go and get just a little bit more out of them. But they will fire clear up into 8 to 10 degrees out. So that is a good idea to check. I have a Briggs V-twin. It won't start. The needle and seat is not stuck, but it floods. Well, if the needle and seat is not stuck and it's flooding, then you need to go and check that your float isn't messed up. Because if your float is sinking, then it's going to go and cause it to flood. Because your float, no, wait, it's your float. Yeah, it's your float in the stuck open position. So if your float is coming up and sticking in that open position, then that can cause it to flood. The other thing that I've seen recently with a lot of Obama gas machines is that, let me grab a piece of paper here.
what is it?
What I've been noticing, so, okay, if you guys know what a needle valve looks like. So a needle valve, the newer ones, and I'm going to color it in here. All right, so On a newer style needle valve, the ones that have the rubber tip, on this rubber tip, I don't know what's in some of the stronger Obama gas, but it actually eats this rubber off of the tip, and it turns it sideways. It'll get into this little nook and cranny here, and it'll actually take the tip and it'll kitty-wampus it to one side. So you want to go and check that tip. Even though it looks good, if you see a little crack down in here, it's probably just barely off enough to one side to mess it up.
Oh yeah, Daddy.
Yeah.
How's the drag racing one happen?
The drag racing event that we're going to is on the 8th, so it'll be in 3 days, which is why I need to finish building the stupid thing. We can't exactly race it if I don't have it built, so we're not going to bother taking the mud mower to the drag racing event. The mud mower has an extra 250 pounds worth of stuff on it. It's a waste of time to take it drag racing. I did keep the drag racing wheelie wheel setup that I built for it so that we can use it on another machine at some point, but we're not going to bother trying to drag race that one again.
Well, we could try in the future, maybe.
All right, let me see here. Wow, you guys have been going at it. Let's see. Robert says, I have 2 twin-cylinder Briggs & Stratton opposed engines on 2 different mowers. On a Parts Craftsman, the other LT1000 Craftsman. The Powercraft is made by MTD. Yeah, there were a lot of MTDs that had opposed twins on them. That doesn't surprise me at all. A lot of your MTDs, they did, especially towards the end of the opposed twins when Briggs & Stratton was offloading them as fast as possible. There were tons of MTDs that ended up with them because they ended up really dirt cheap. Once the V twins started to come out onto the market, Briggs & Stratton offloaded them as fast as they could. So you saw a lot of them on MTDs towards the end. Let's see. Hunter says chlorinated brake cleaner will damage plastic and rubber parts. That's probably why it damages the nails. Never use a chlorinated spray near plastic or rubber parts, by the way. Figured that out. I figured that out also because of tractor hoods. I've used brake cleaner in the past to go and spray on tractor hoods in order to be able to wipe off pine pitch. The old school brake cleaner used to go and take pine pitch off, and then I would re-wax the hoods. Didn't think about it one day, and I sprayed down a hood that was plastic, and yeah, that'll really screw up a hood really, really quick. You can literally sign your name in chlorinated brake cleaner on a plastic hood. It also do the same thing to a Power Wheels body, so you want to watch out for that. Good point there, Hunter. Let's see.
Yeah, what you guys do want and show you my last
All right. Murray Mountain says, you said on one of your older live chats that changing the exhaust valve rod to a steel one is a stupid idea. What if you changed your valve lifter, rocker arm, and aluminum rod with the steel parts? Oh, he wants to go and try and show you his crab thing. You don't see, these are an old tourist thing that you don't see anymore because of all the PETA people and stuff like that. But these used to sell in Maine, and they don't make them anymore because of PETA and, you know, whatever. But it is a crab formed into acrylic. There we go.
and crab's really small. Unless you want to see how small.
Yep. John wants to show you a comparison next to a can. There we go. All right, good job. So Okay, so as far as your steel rod and your exhaust and stuff like that, the whole reason why it is that you have a steel and aluminum rod, most people don't understand why it is that the two exist. And the reason being is because steel expands differently than aluminum does. And one expands more than the other. Forgive me that I don't remember which one it is. But the thing is if you replace the aluminum rod with the steel rod, what happens is as the motor warms up, the expansion that is expected to happen does not happen, which can actually cause you to have running issues. The reason why they end up putting them into racing motors and stuff like that is because they up the compression and they up the springs in the motors and stuff. The only reason to run a steel rod is because the aluminum rods can't take the upgraded valve springs that you run in a racing machine. The other thing is a racing machine is tuned to be able to deal with the fact that that expansion difference doesn't exist because of the lack of the aluminum rod. That's why it's a stupid idea unless you have racing springs. It's one of those things, it's no different than a oil catch can. On a stock machine, if your machine is running right, then you don't have the extra blow-by system going on. Your PCV valve compensates for the heat that's within the motor. There is no bloody reason whatsoever, unless you have racing motor parts in your machine, to ever have an oil catch can. The only reason you do that is because you're a groupie and you're following some stupid fad. That's the only reason to do it. Exhaust steel rods, that's the same idea. If you are bending aluminum rods, you've got something wrong in your motor if it's a stock motor. Hey, I was wondering, why would my belt keep coming off my racing mower? Okay, so as far as your belt coming off, that's a usual question that I end up with. And the answer to your question most of the time is that you have somewhere that's out of alignment. So what you need to do is you need to take where your pulley is on your motor. You need to take where your pulley is that is on your transmission, and you need to find a straight edge that you can run between the two and set it in there. Or take a string and string it right across there, and you should have the plane of both pulleys being exactly the same. If they're not exactly the same and slightly kittied, or you have an idler pulley in between that is not on the same plane and slightly kittied, it will end up throwing your belt. That is usually the reason. The other reason is because if your clutch is disengaging to the point that, so you've got the side of your pulley and you've got your belt running through your pulley. If your belt comes out so that it hits this edge and you go and drop your clutch, it can trig to the opposite side when the clutch jumps. So you need to pay attention to that. It needs to come to here, not to here. All right, so let's play the how much did the mower sell for game. Okay, so there is a 10 on top. The rest of it is 20s. Okay, let's play the how much did the mower sell for game. I'm going to tell you the description on the mower. The mower was a Poulin. It was not a Poulin Pro. It was originally a 15.5 Briggs & Stratton. I swapped it out for a 13 Kohler because the Briggs had a thrown connecting rod. It was a 38-inch deck. It had a running deck, and it had a seat on it that was able to be sat on, but definitely not in the best condition, cracked out. That's the rest of the description I'll give you. Oh, the hood was in really good condition, but the lights did not work. How much do you think is in that stack? What did we sell that machine for?
$100.
John says he thinks $100 bill. I'm going to tell John that he's wrong. Let's see.
How much is it?
Okay, Josh wants to know, John, what is your favorite tractor brand out of Craftsman, John Deere, Murray, or Troy-Bilt? Sit down so that people can see you. What's your favorite brand out of Craftsman, John Deere, Murray, or Troy-Bilt?
I don't know.
You don't know? Did you like the John Deere that we took on the latest off-roading adventures?
Yeah,
Yeah? Okay.
I'm guessing that one.
Okay, so you like the new John Deere?
Yeah, most would be is all.
You like bouncy?
What about the bouncy mud mower? Do you like the bouncy one?
Mhm.
You like that one? That one's a Craftsman. Which one do you think is cooler? Do you think the John Deere looks cooler or bouncy looks cooler?
Bouncy.
You think bouncer looks cooler?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Is the drag racer going to be competitive with the big boys this time? I take it they're running rag boxes. I'm not sure what you mean by rag boxes, but basically most of the guys that race there, they're running MST 206s. They usually start off in second gear, they switch to fourth, and then they switch to sixth at the top end. The last race was only 100 feet. We're going to be doing 140 or 150 on the next one. As far as whether we're going to be competitive, I'm building a machine that they've never seen before. I'm building a very drive machine, which drives more like a snowmobile. And right now we've got it so it does about 12 to 13 miles per hour. We need to get it closer to 30 to be competitive. But at the same time, I'm not driving it. Jesse is. So I'm the one testing it at 200 pounds, which means the moment we get her on there at 100, it should really make a big difference on its takeoff and a bunch of other stuff. And that's just what I've done to it so far. As it is right now, I've only done a rear pulley upgrade, well, downgrade in size, and I'm figuring out how to go and do the front pulley hopefully tomorrow. So will it be competitive? That's the goal, obviously, in any competition. As it is right now, it could just be more of a situation and just let's see what we can do when we get there. But we're definitely trying. Jesse's a very competitive person. I'm a very competitive builder. Between the two of us, I think we'll figure it out. Let's see. Is your race mower straight piped? If you go check out the Instagram post, that'll answer your question pretty darn quickly. John, to answer your question on Tommy's tractor, it's a fully restored 1983 MTD mowing tractor. Let's see. Let's see, John Lane, where are the drag races? They're at a place called Threshers. It's in Searsmont here in Maine. It's about a half an hour or so drive away from where we live. And we should have close to 40 to 50 racers on the next event, judging from how many people are talking about going. So it's in Searsmont, Maine, at a place called Threshers Brewing Company. Let's see. How do you put mud tires on a lawn tractor rim? John, where do we take our tires to in order to get them put on the rim? Do you remember? Do you remember what the place down here is called? Tire what?
I don't know.
We take them to Tire Warehouse. Tire Warehouse is one of the only places around here that works on ATV and lawn tractor tires. They've been mounting tires for me for 5 years now for ATV stuff and tires for lawn tractors and stuff when I don't feel like dealing with them. The one up here only charges 20 bucks a tire. And when you consider that mounting a tire can take upwards of half an hour worth of fighting with it on a small 8-inch rim, it's worth it to spend 20 bucks and not end up having to deal with it. I do have tire mounting equipment. I do have a tire mounter. I have done ATV tires in a pinch when I've needed to, but it's definitely worth it to pay Tire Warehouse to save myself the headache. Let's see. Let's see. Papa wants to know, does John go to any summer camps? Just wondering. He's gone to one or two. He likes going to camps where they have a lot of like activities, physical activities, like bouncing around on stuff. Let's see.
Wasn't there like kids involved or something like that?
Oh yeah, he went to a gym type thing called Kids in Progress, and he enjoyed that.
No, was that so YMCA?
Let's see.
Yeah.
Hunter, did you use spray paint on Mud Wizard? If so, how's it holding up? Thinking about repainting my tractor with spray paint. Yes, the spray paint, it is spray paint that's on Mud Wizard. It's Rust-Oleum. Is that Gizmodo? Yeah. John calls this little creation Gizmodo. It is Rust-Oleum spray paint. One thing that I ended up recently learning about using spray paint here in the state of Maine is that humidity that is over 65% actually will affect how the spray paint actually settles and orange peeling and stuff like that. So to do it again, I would pay attention to the humidity because that's actually what ended up screwing up my spray paint on Mud Wizard. But yeah, the paint is holding up great. I mean, aside from where I hit a tree with it, the paint's great. All right, let's see. Hey, Parts and Pieces, glad to go and have you here. Guys, if you don't follow Parts and Pieces, please go check him out. The dude is doing some really cool stuff. He likes to go and do abstract mud mower builds like I do. He does not follow the cookie cutter platform. He's got a Murray that he has a very different clutch setup on it than most other people do. Rather than deciding to go and copy somebody else, he came up with his own little contraption-y way of doing it using the stock clutch. It is definitely worth checking out.
Wait, did he comment it?
Yep.
He did?
So let me see here. Hold up 5 seconds. Okay, so we're getting down into what is in here. How much money is in that? It is 20s with a 10 on top. What did I sell it for? Josh says 150. Nope, higher. Hunter says 350. Nope, lower. Hunter says 250 bucks. Hey, that's cheating. You decided to go and say two of them. Hunter, you lose. You don't get to win. Cool Bag says 130. Robert says 225. Getting closer. 230. It is $250 that is there. We sold the little Poolin. Now that's a Poolin, not a Poolin Pro. They're the smaller one. They don't have the big, wider, bug-eyed hood, and so therefore they don't sell for as much. So 250 bucks in this market, I will take it. Normally I would have listed it at closer to 350, but in this market I'll take 250. All right, go ahead, show them your little castle. John likes Legos, as you guys know. A bunch of you ended up sending him some Lego kits and stuff like that when we ended up getting back here because we ended up discovering that his toys had been destroyed. So I really appreciate you guys sending the Legos and helping John out. It's one thing I'll never forget, and I appreciate it.
I like them. I make tons of them. Tons of stuff. I even made an awkward car, too. This guy wants to do that, too.
Oh, Rally Man says right angle gearbox from a belt to a chain to a cog to a rag. All right, no, we're the way that their rules are written, you're required to go and use a factory setup. You're allowed to get into the transmission and monkey with the transmission. You're allowed to use pulleys and different ratios and everything else, but it needs to be basically a factory setup as far as that goes. Now, if I could find an original Lawn Chief that had a 700 with a solid axle rear, now that I technically could use because it was a factory setup. Say something like, ironically, we were talking about it earlier, like a Bolin 66 has a right angle gearbox that goes in. That I could also be able to use because it was a factory setup. That's part of the rules of the drag racing group. So you're welcome to go and you're welcome to go and throw up other ideas, but that's one of the things that's required. Go ahead, John.
This also came up out of the other Lego, the other Lego box, but this wasn't from the instructions. I built this by hand from my own imagination.
So there's John's design by himself imagination card. All right, so let's see. Hey, let's do stickers early on this live. Anybody want to do some stickers? So here we go. I know that I'm a meanie. I know that I'm harsh about it, but we're going to do it at this time. So 6:46. We're going to make a timestamp note of 6:46. We're going to go and do stickers. So here's the deal. If you want to go and win a sticker, you need to send me an email at mainmudmower@yahoo.com. Your email must include your name, your mailing address. It must be written out correctly. If I have to go and try and figure out what it is you wrote down because you couldn't monkey write a correct mailing address, I'm not sending out a sticker. I'm already sending out something for free and it cost me the postage to send it. So, email, name, full name, address. It's that simple. If you can't manage to go and do it, not my problem. So the first 5 that come in, I will be sending out stickers to, and I will make sure that I go by the timestamp of 6:45. 6:46. So if it comes in before that, I know you cheated. So no coming in before that. Let me see here. Tommy says he likes your helmet. Do you want to show your helmet? Can you put your helmet on? We found this at a yard sale a few years or so ago. Oh, did you guys see this? Speaking of helmets, it's a hat with a GoPro mount in it. You can pick these up on Amazon. These are really cool. We're going to be hopefully using these for a couple of different things soon. So, yeah, there's John's 80s retro helmet. And this thing actually is DOT rated. Obviously, it's long since past due on its rating. But these were actually sold back in the 80s. I think that's really cool that it's an actual retro. Let's see.
I don't know where I found them, but on TV, I don't normally see them.
Yep, you've seen them on older TV shows. That's right. Who won the guessing? Well, the problem is the person who won cheated. So We're going to go with the next closest guessing, which would be, well, Scott Gostoy, however you pronounce his name, was within $20. And we're going to go with Scott Gostoy one. He was within $20. Good job, Scott. Let me see. Murray Mountain says, do you have 2 fuel pumps on the racing MTD you're building? It's not actually 2 fuel pumps. What you saw there is on the Briggs & Stratton vertical carburetors, there is a mounted fuel pump on those. And when the pump goes bad on those, what you do is you pull, and it works on the 4-screw design. What you do is you take that assembly off of there, you leave the vacuum seal that's in there, and you deliberately snip off and remove all 3 of the springs that are in there. You snip them off so it's a straight through run, and then you put a pulse pump on the outside. I couldn't get a kit in order to fix it in time on the actual pump that's on it, so therefore I stripped out the pump, made it a flow-through pump, and then put a pulse pump on the outside. Also, just in case, I mounted the fuel tank so it's above the carburetor, so that even the pulse, if it can't keep up, has the flow-through anyway. Let's see. What are the 3 best lawnmower engines? My favorite that I usually go for is usually a 15.5 single horsepower Briggs or a 17, because they seem to be some of the longer lasting ones. If I had to choose a Kohler, I would say probably a Kohler 14. Those ones seem to have insane amounts of hours on them and still be running perfectly fine. I like the Briggs 21Vs. They seem to run really well and run a long time. Yeah, this was in a video that John ended up finding.
Yeah, I hopped inside an old car that was rotting away.
Yeah, it was inside an old rotted out car that was on one of the RCG Racing mud videos there. That was cool to go and see. Let's see. Mr. Rallyman, check out the videos of racing go-karts, and you can easily copy the tire changing manual machine. It's a simple idea. Yeah, I mean, I have a tire changer thing that I bought from Harbor Freight, and I've used that for quite a while. It is what it is. Let's see. Oh, is this your other thing? Do you guys ever see those WPL RCs? This is John that he and I have been putting together over time. It's got full solid metal axles on the inside, upgraded gears, and upgraded tires. And we upgraded battery packs on it. And these are fun to go and build if you want something that you can buy. The kits on these start off usually for the base kit about $40. They come with a body on them, but we left the body on because we've been modding it a bunch over the years. And usually most of the mods are like $20. So, you know, every month you buy a new mod and you put a new mod on. And it's a good little father-son thing to go and do. So the WPLs, they're definitely worth building and fun to do. Look into those as a father-son thing. They're really cool. Oh, speaking of stupid people. So here was one of those things that I thought that I'd bring up. I had a buddy of mine point this out. So Do you guys like those old comedy skits of Billingvall? You know, stupid people. Here's your sign and stuff like that. Well, one of my favorite things of the Billingvall, you know, warning labels are for stupid people and stuff like that. And one of my favorite warning labels is Christmas tree lights. Christmas tree lights literally have a warning label on them that says for indoor and outdoor use only. Where in the world else are you supposed to use Christmas tree lights? I don't know who did what to warrant that being a warning label, but it's a Christmas tree light, indoor and outdoor use only. But one of my buddies wanted to point out that people are stupid enough to the point that a can for like oil, power steering, and stuff like that, they actually have pouring instructions because we're too dumb to figure out how to pour oil. Have you ever noticed that? There's certain brands that don't have it, but there's actual how-to pouring illustrations on a can of generic power steering, on oil, and stuff like that. You know, I've never needed instructions for it, and then somebody pointed it out, and now I am obsessed with looking to see if that logo is actually on these. Certain Valvolines don't have them, and certain Valvolines seem to actually have them. But I thought that was an interesting, like, little Easter egg to go looking for.
Here's a snowman.
Oh, did you make a snowman? Hold it up against it. There you go. There's a Play-Doh snowman. Do you guys do that with your kids if you have kids? Do you buy them a bunch of Play-Doh and then as the Play-Doh starts to get dry, you let them make them into stuff and leave them out and things like that? That's what we do. We buy a whole ton of the Play-Doh kits. We buy the bulk kits off of Amazon, the big giant like 36 color whatever type kits, because it's way more cost effective. And then I let John, as they start to go and get as they start to get worn out, he's allowed to go and make them into little creations. But
one of the favorite YouTubers I like to watch to make the ideas so I make.
You gotta speak into the mic. One of your favorite YouTubers, what?
Is like Clay or something like that.
Oh, you watch a YouTuber called Clay?
Yeah, something like that.
What does Clay make?
He's like clay and stuff that like makes
He makes little figurines out of clay, or cool. All right, guys. So there you go. There's one of John's favorite YouTubers that you should be subscribed to because John likes him. It's Clay. He makes little clay figurine things. Let me see. So Hunter's claiming that he didn't cheat when he was trying to say how much money was here, that he meant to go and say 250 the first time. Let's see. Do you have a link for supporting your channel? Robert, I tried to go and do that kind of stuff, and I just plain decided that it was better off just to say, hey, you know, if you see something cool, go ahead and share my videos. I do have a PayPal account that is associated with the main Mud Mower's email address. If you're that inclined that you wish to go and send me something or whatever, in order to go and, you know, maybe sponsor buying John some Legos or something for the shop or things like that, I have had people decide to go and send me stuff on PayPal. The other thing that people like to go and do is you can donate. You can donate paid cards like Home Depot and stuff like that. I've had some people decide to go and send me Home Depot gift cards. That really, in all honesty, that has been a very major cool thing for me. When we got back to the house, I ended up with $25 on a Home Depot gift card that ended up really coming in handy to go and be able to use. So that's another thing, if you want to help support the channel, is using the email address for either PayPal or Home Depot gift cards. Let's see. So Parts and Pieces says that you had an awesome Lego cart there, John. And his two boys, one of their favorite thing is Legos also.
Yeah, I just made a sculpture out of tinfoil or something like that.
Oh, it's a face sculpture out of tinfoil. These are cool to make. Another thing you can do with these is you can let the kids go and sculpt them in, and then you can quickly flash across them with some spray paint, and they make cool little artsy type things out of them. Just one of those time kill type things. Costs nothing. Really, if you just have some leftover spray paint to use, and the kids think it's cool in order to go and play with. Let's see. Do I need a clutch because I have an automatic? Actually, it depends on the type of automatic, whether you need a clutch or not. If you have a automatic that uses a clutch, like an old-fashioned LT2000 that has a clutch-activated system, then yes. But if you have something newer, like GT5000 newer Craftsman, then in that case, you need to show them the whole thing, or else that doesn't make any sense. Show them the whole thing if you're going to do it. Otherwise, you end up having to go and set up some sort of clutch release. But a newer GT5000 actually has a transmission reset neutral. When you pop the clutch, the belt always stays running, which is why I built a mud mower out of one of them. Okay. So John wants you to go and see this. This is an interesting little thing. So I actually talked my father into buying John this for John back a few Christmases ago. As you can see, there's a little thing in here, like when you go to the fair. And this has a little plastic piece across the front. And it's got this. And the front of this is magnetic. So when you pull it, it actually makes a little click noise, and then when this gets pushed in, it resets it. So if you put it up against one of these little balls here, we'll see if we can demonstrate it, and you aim it, and you pull the trigger while you're pushing against it. John, head out of the way. It shoots the little ball. And you ding the bell in the back if you can hit it. So that's how these work. They're little Carnival things. And you can find these under retro toys on Amazon. I thought that was cool. See if I can hit one. There it goes. So there's a little retro toy. I actually had one of these when I was a kid, and so we found one for John. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That's a heck of a time saver. No batteries. When you're up here in Maine, you have to find stuff in order to go and keep busy when you have power outages. Decent power outages up here in Maine can go for anywhere from 24 hours to 3 days. So it's a good idea to have some games that you can play that have nothing to do with batteries. It's worth it in the long run. Apparently that fruit fly really liked Moxie. It just flew in my can and somehow flew back out. That was good. Let's see. My 21 horse Briggs V-twin has serious piston slap. So much that it doesn't even have compression on that cylinder. I would say in that case, it's probably a done for situation. I wouldn't bother with that. That's horrible. I want to get a WPL RC. Bayside Customs, if you're going to get a WPL RC, what I would do is the moment you order it, I would also order the solid steel axle with full gear conversion. It takes about half an hour or so to do the full conversion, but it is definitely something you want. John was, what do you think? You probably drove the, I think he was on his second battery recharge when he blew the differential out of the first plastic differential up in the front of it the first time. And
Rally or?
no, on the RC car, the first time you drove it. Yeah, we blew the front differential, the plastic original gears, the second or the third time driving it. And we blew the plastic rear end gears, I think probably on the third or the fourth battery worth of driving it. They literally only lasted about an hour of driving or so. So the very first thing you do the moment you order one of those is order the metal gear conversion. If you are somebody who's not mechanically inclined and you don't want to do the conversion, on Amazon you can actually order them with the conversion already done. But it's worth it as a father-son, father-daughter, big brother, big brother, little sister build to do them. The shocks are upgradable. The axles are upgradable. The drive shafts are upgradable. The transfer cases are upgradable. Oh, that's an upgrade that's on John's also, is that transfer case. The transfer case that's on John's, if you order the high-low transfer case for them, you do not have to actually hook up the high-low servo. You can actually make it so it manually engages to high and low and just reach over and clunk it into whichever one you want. So that's worth it also in order to be able to do the upgrade. Yeah, it was definitely worth it to do.
There's also this marker that's really meant for people that really like Shrek, because once you open it, you basically slice off the head of him.
John says the marker is interesting and funny because when you go to use it, you rip Shrek's head off. He says it's a slight design flaw that you end up decapitating Shrek. Oh, you gotta love some child humor there. Let's see. Murray Mountain, you gotta love the people who say I build race cars because they add oil to their stock Mustang. Oh yeah, no, I love when you see the dyno videos where they claim supposedly they picked up like 3 horsepower by switching over to purple oil or whatever it is, racing purple or something. There used to be a bunch of obviously sponsored dyno videos all over YouTube that a lot of them have been ripped down now because they ended up Royal Purple ended up getting in trouble because they were sponsoring people basically to deliberately claim that they were gaining horsepower by changing to Royal Purple racing oil. But if you look around, I bet you'll probably still end up finding some where people claim supposedly that just by switching their stock car to Royal Purple, they gained 5 to 7 or something horsepower. That's one of the things that I'm doing right now with this racing build, which is why it's taking me 5 days to do, is as I'm progressively making improvements, I'm actually testing it down the driveway at 150 feet in order to see with a GPS dyno, A, whether I go faster in the total speed, and B, whether we actually are making increased horsepower and stuff. For example, did you know that did you want to show that?
Yeah.
Did you know he ended up finding this quarter that has a hole in it that he thinks is cool?
Well, let's turn over to the other side. The eagle been shot. I think they put on a vice weight for this.
So, yeah, they probably did it in a vice.
And then it's aimed to try shooting the eagle.
Yep. Okay. So what I'm doing is, as I'm doing upgrades, that was one thing a lot of people requested from the old mud mower days when I originally built main mud mower, is that I used to do upgrades and then test, upgrades and then test, upgrades and then test. So on this MTD, as I'm doing upgrades, I'm testing it as I go to go and see exactly what it is, whether it actually made a difference, whether slicing the exhaust off and ending up with open headers actually makes any difference whatsoever. Stuff like that. As I'm going along, I'm testing to go and see whether I actually end up with improvements. So I ended up discovering that a good condition stock over opposed twin Briggs. Did you know that stock exhaust that's on there weighs 5 pounds? The stock muffler exhaust system on a opposed twin Briggs weighs 5 pounds. That is insane. That's crazy. Just by converting that to open headers, just that alone dropped 4 pounds off of that build. So that's a huge difference in weight when you're dealing with drag racing. By the time you drop my 200 pounds down to 100 pounds with Jesse driving, that's going to make a huge, giant difference on it also. That machine has a cast iron axle in the front. If we convert that axle over to a stamped steel axle, how many pounds are we going to drop when we do that? Is it going to make a giant difference? Stuff like that. The cutting the exhaust off is actually going to end up making a null difference because I'm actually swapping it to a Murray seat. The reason being is because those MTD seats, they're very flat and they're like a plasticky vinyl top, and it's easy to slide around on them. So I'm converting it to a rubber topped Murray pan seat so that way she sits down into it and is much safer in the system. Just one of those things. Oh, this is from when I was a kid, actually. I made this when I was I think I was 14 years old when I made this. Unfortunately, the wing got snapped off. But
oh, it's bigger?
Yeah, it used to have a wing on it. But this was shop class when I was 14 years old. Back when kids were allowed to go and learn by slicing their fingers off on a bandsaw. There you go. Let me see. It takes all kinds of people to make the world go round. We need stupid people too. It keeps life interesting. Oh, keeps life interesting is definitely something that definitely happens. Like these. This is a soldering iron. It's battery powered. The owner's manual in it literally says, well button is pushed, tip may cause scalding. Really? It only melts solder at 600 some odd degrees. Why in the world would that cause scalding? It amazes me.
What is scalding?
Scalding is where you end up burning something.
Oh.
See, I don't know if that'll actually get hot enough to burn a piece of paper towel. Nope, apparently not. Oh, actually, this is my one where the battery is starting to fail, so it doesn't light up correctly. So, oh well. Unfortunately, that one doesn't work so good. I need to get a new one of those at some point. Did you know a tape measure says warning may cut you? Or there's some of them that say do not use as sword because of these. Using them as a sword because if you swipe with it, you can actually slice something. Yeah, read warning labels. They really are a riot sometimes what you can find.
Wait, it can slice someone?
Yeah, you can cut somebody with a worn out tape measure because they wear on the edge, and it'll actually get sharp enough that you can cut someone.
Oh. Hey, Daddy,
What?
you want to try tossing the Furby in?
You can show them the Furby if you want. They've seen the googly eye Furby. Let's see. Do you like carbs from China or no? I like carbs from China, but you have to buy carbs from China knowing that about 1 in 4 is A, not going to work right, and probably 2 out of 4 is going to have to be tuned to work right. So if you order up a carb from China, plan on potentially having to order another one. The other thing I've noticed with carbs from China is that they get beat to snot, and the floats oftentimes are stuck in them when they show up. So the first thing you want to do when you get a Chinese carb is take it out and shake it and see if it makes the float bowl sound, because it won't make the float bowl sound once it's got a decent amount of gas in it. So make sure you can maraca that carb before you put it in. I have found a ton of them over the years that the float will actually be stuck in the wide open position from shipping. That's another thing that I have found I've been running into with transporting carburetors that that people ran out of gas, is that bouncing them on the trailer, if they don't have any gas in them when you're bouncing them on the trailer, the Obama gas stuff that's in the bottom that's dehydrated will actually cause the float to jam in one position or the other. And you need to be careful of that. Oftentimes you'll pull a bowl and it'll just be stuffed in one direction or the other and stay there. Let's see.
Here's another one.
Let's see. Murray Mountain, for some reason there's 2 dislikes. It doesn't surprise me that there's dislikes. Those are probably the people that weren't able to read the directions and therefore they hit the wrong button. But it's okay. We need people like that. They're the fun ones that you take video of when they smash into things or don't pay attention.
What is that?
But it's okay. We'll hand them directions with little pictorials on how to hit the like button the next time.
Is that the guy or?
Yeah, that's apparently Murray Mountain.
It looks like he has a tractor dragging around near a tree. Tell me what's I am, Murray Mountain.
All right. What's what?
I said, tell me what it is, Murray Mountain.
Oh, okay. John likes the Murray Mountain name.
It's Murray, that's a mountain.
Hunter says, is it just me or are there more flies now than there were earlier this year? Actually, the flies have been down quite a bit this year. I really haven't had to deal with too many flies. The big thing about dealing with flies that I have ended up finding is in the kitchen, anything that has trash in it. As long as you manage to cycle your trash every 3 days, which 3 days is the gestation period for fruit fly larvae. As long as you keep your trash cycling every 3 days, or you keep it closed lid, so that they're not able to go and breathe correctly and stuff, or you constantly spritz it with, if you spritz it with cooking oil, the cooking oil catches them when they try to go and mount on stuff and lay eggs. That's the other way to go and keep them down. Spritzing your trash with cooking oil will help cause flies to go and mess themselves up. That's another technique that we use around here. Let's see. Josh, I sent you a question in your email. Cool, Josh. I'll check out my email later on tonight after John goes to bed. So it'll be about 2 hours from now. I'll take a look at it if I don't decide to go work on the drag racing build tonight. Jesse's not feeling good, so I'll probably wait to work on the drag racer till tomorrow morning, but we'll see. Oh, actually, we have to go unload about 30 fake Christmas trees tomorrow. When you have friends like me, or I have friends, or friends like me, or the friends that I have, I'm not sure how you word that, you end up getting asked to do a lot of really weird things. So at an auction, he ended up buying a trailer, and the trailer was filled with Christmas trees, artificial trees. So I told him that I would help unload the trailer as long as John and I got to have some artificial trees to use for YouTube videos. We figure they should light on fire really good, or we haven't quite decided what to do, but artificial Christmas trees sound fun.
Well, why not make tires out of them?
You're gonna make a tire out of an artificial tree?
Yeah, why not take a run and like kind of mount it on it?
I don't think you're making a tire out of an artificial tree, but okay. Anyways, moving on.
Well, I mean more than one.
Let's see. AVGAS will makes a difference in motocross bike. When I raced back in the day, probably called something different there, but basically aeroplane fuel, but to a local flying school. Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. You're talking about what we call aviation gas up here. We also call it dragster gas. What you're talking about is what they call 105 or 103 octane in this area. You're actually not allowed to run it at the drag races that we go to. And it's easy to tell if somebody's trying to run that gas. If you've ever smelled regular gasoline and you smell airplane gas, it smells way totally different. Airplane gas has a stench to it that you can tell instantly the moment you open the can. That's not to say that there aren't some guys that mix it in and claim that supposedly they didn't, but you can tell if it's pure airplane gas without a question. They also call it jet fuel up here.
Oh yeah, Daddy.
Let's see. What?
How does live chat work? Like, does it edit while we film, or?
No, the live chat is live. It's recording right now. There's no editing. That's why when you pause and stuff, I continue going.
Okay. So I can't like pause it.
Carts and Cameras says I cut my toe once with a tape measure. Oh, okay. All right. I have to tell you. I swear on John's life that this is an entirely true story.
Wait, you cut it?
I swear on John's life that this is an entirely true story. Okay, so have you guys ever seen those little like sales gimmick 6-foot tape measures? The ones that they sell, they're just little sales gimmicks, they giveaways and stuff like that.
The little small ones?
Yeah, the little itty bitty tiny ones.
No, they have one?
Yep. Yeah, you have one downstairs. Okay, so back years ago, I used to work as a computer technician. And back years ago, actually, I have a lawyer's letter from the video that I made of this asking me to remove it from YouTube. I ended up recording. We had a company, I think it was Mythal or Mythscroll or something like that. It was a Chinese company, kept calling my workplace, and they sold pens with logos on it. They sold these with logos on it. They sold stuff with all kinds of logo, whatever type stuff. And we told them for 9 months that we wanted them to stop calling, that we wanted them to quit calling us, to leave us the hell alone, to stop calling. So they sent us one of these with the computer shop logo on it. And it was a little 6-inch one. And I was like, that's it. I've had enough. So they called up on cue exactly a week later from us receiving it in order to ask what we thought and if we wanted to order from their company. And the moment the lady on the other end of the phone gets on there and starts trying to sell me, I was like, oh my God, who do I send the bill to? And she was like, wait, you want to order some? I was like, no, who do I send the bill to? And she was like, what bill? And I was like, that stupid tape measure of yours, it exploded and it sliced my fingers up and I had to get stitches. I had to go to the ER. Your stupid thing exploded and it sliced my finger up and I ended up with a giant ER bill. Who do I send the bill to? I swear to God, I'm suing you people. She hung up on me. We never, ever, ever got a call from the company ever again after that. They removed us from their call list. I actually posted the call, another call that I did with them, which was a very inappropriate video. And if you guys are old enough to have been on my channel 5 years ago, you might actually remember it. Or 6, 7 years ago. It was back before I cared about whether I was PG on YouTube or not. I actually posted another video dealing with them. And they sent me a lawyer's letter to have it removed. And I told them they could go shove it because they were going to have to haul me into court for it. But yeah, I got a telemarketer trying to sales gimmick me to leave me alone by claiming one of these sliced my fingers up and I had to send them an ER bill. That poor lady in Indonesia had no idea what was going on.
Wow.
Let's see. I made two of those cars in shop class in middle school. They were air powered and were launched on a track with an air compressor. Yeah, actually, that's why the back on it is almost straight. We were supposed to cut them off straight. So what they used to do was put them on a track, and they had a rubber grommet that was, I think it was painted on rubber or something, that was on the end of a air hose. And they had a ball valve that was, they had a ball valve on it with a pull release and a spring. So you'd set it onto the track, you'd pump up the air compressor, and then you'd pull the pin and the ball valve would go off and you'd shoot the car down the track. They weren't exactly all that exciting because the problem is after about 25 PSI or so, they would just plain out shoot the car off of the track. They didn't really stay on it much because they were wooden axles. So they just would kind of bind up and do stupid things and shoot the car everywhere. Yeah.
Oh. 18 people are watching.
Let's see. Hello from Brad Small Engine Services from New Brunswick. I'm assuming you mean New Brunswick, Canada. Hey, neighbor. Glad to go and have you here. Let's see. Rob says, hi, John.
Hey.
I have a Bose radio and it says, warning, excessive noise may cause hearing damage and speaker damage. You don't say. I can't hear you.
That kind of looks like a tank.
Yep. Yeah, if you if you ever go to unload one of these GoPro things, there's a warning on it that says not a flotation device. It's a flotation device for your GoPro, but it says not a flotation device because of saving people. How stupid do you have to be to think that your GoPro is going to save somebody's life?
Yeah, no one to save someone's life.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you want to stuff it across the legs and hopefully float.
Yeah. Craftsman screwdrivers. Old Craftsman screwdrivers have a warning label that says may be sharp and cause punctures.
Maybe.
Maybe sharp. John, how do we treat a screwdriver?
Don't put it in your fingers.
We treat it like a knife because it'll stab something. That's right. Yeah, don't put it near your fingers because you might stab through your finger. Carts and cameras, what transmission does the Stanley have? The transmission in the Stanley is an 820, but it has gear problems. That's part of the reason why I saved the transmission out of the Lawn Boy, was so that I could be able to use the Lawn Boy transmission, hopefully, to figure out what's wrong with the gears and hopefully get it back up and running and sell it. That machine up and running is worth $600 with a mower deck. So we'll see what happens with that. It unfortunately is sat for 2 years. And so I don't know what kind of condition it's going to be when we pull it out. I am hoping to get it pulled out this fall and see if we can get it running good enough that we can stash it for next spring. We'll see what we can do. The yellow Stanley that's off in the junkyard. Yeah. The one that's got thorn bushes currently growing all the way over it.
I don't think I know that one.
All right, so we are at the 7:30 mark, and I need to cook tacos. So I'll take a look at the last couple of things that are down here and see what's going on, and then we will call it quits for tonight.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Oh, John says he's got a question for you guys. What's the question, John?
What's your favorite one of my Power Wheels?
John says out of the Power Wheels that he has in his last video, what do you guys, what's your favorite for the Power Wheel builds? What do you guys like? What do you guys like best? He wants to know. Let's see. I picked up a Craftsman Garden tractor with a 22.5 Kohler twin, and it has no spark and doesn't turn over with key. Any ideas? Yes. Figure out exactly what wire is the kill wire and disconnect the stupid thing and see whether you have spark after that. Just jump start it right straight across the starter like you've seen me do in countless lawn tractor hunting videos.
What is
and go with that.
Just randomly popped up.
And let's see. Rallyman says he likes your blue Power Wheels best. He likes your Ford. Let's see.
Wait, which one? The modded one or?
Hunter says, what's the absolute worst lawn tractor transmission? If I had to deal with a Spicer, I'd say the 23,000 series Spicers. The 2600 and the 4300 are modeled after a 930 Peerless. And the 930 Peerless is ironically the crummiest of the Peerless as far as I'm concerned. And the 6300 Spicer is actually better than the 930 it's a clone of. The 4300, they actually improved on the 9600. And so as far as I'm concerned, any Spicer that is not a 3600 or a 4300 is junk. And any Peerless transmission that is not an MST, an 801 or an 820, as far as I'm concerned, is just asking for it. I literally have seen probably 7 different Peerless 930s that were blown up just from attempting to mow the grass. They're that stupidly crummy. But yet the 3600, which is a clone of them, I have seen hundreds of them made into mud mowers and made into dragsters, made into racing machines, and they hold up really, really well. The original zinc lockers Spicer Bomb is alive today and was used in my machine for mowing, for plowing my driveway for 2 winters when I had previously blown up 3 MST transmissions in that, trying to go and plow my driveway. So keep that in mind when you're looking at transmissions. If you're dealing with MSTs, be really careful about torquing up an MST in 4th gear. They love to explode the 4th gear. Do not take off in 4th gear clutch dumps on an MST. Always do it in 3rd gear or 2nd gear. Do not take off in 4th.
Oh yeah, Daddy. What is his name?
Let's see. That's Carts and Cameras.
Cartoon cameras. What is the picture supposed to be?
That looks like the front of a tractor of some sort. We can check out his YouTube channel after.
Wait, these are YouTubers?
Carts and Cameras has a YouTube channel. I actually, hey, if you guys are bored at the end of this, check out Carts and Cameras. He's one of the guys that's been commenting here. He actually is, he's a very young kid, but he's been attempting to do tractor hunting videos on his own and stuff like that. And he's been working through his tractor hunts as he picks up machines. And he just recently picked up 2 Craftsmans last I knew. So feel free to go bug him. Carts and Cameras, if I'm going to do a shout out for you, I expect your next video to have a lot less swear words in it. When you turn 18, I want to see you get monetized. So let's get Carts and Cameras a few subscribers and get him growing. He's doing videos that are like me. So feel free to go give him a like and say hi. But Carts and Cameras, you got to cut the swearing there, bub. Let's see.
Yeah, it's not appropriate for kids. There's a lot of swearing.
Yep. Carts and Cameras says he likes your lifted Ford the best.
Yeah, many people are probably going to go for that one. The Fords.
Alright. Okay, guys. You guys managed to go and throw in the comments a little bit of consensus on your own stuff as far as the transmissions and things like that. And I appreciate you guys coming in, commenting, and helping out with continuing this. We're going to call it good for tonight. And I got to go make tacos. And then I got to go and see if I can build a drag racer. And then we're going to go and see if Jessie can go out and beat the snot out of the boys. Because as far as I know, she's going to be the only girl racing, hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see if she can go and kick the snot out of the 200-pound men. Here we go. Have fun, guys.